Hi, I'm Debbie and I'm a theatre healthcare assistant and I work at the Ridgeway Hospital in Rawton.
My name's Poppy. I'm a support time and recovery worker and I work in a forensic community mental health team in Kent.
Yeah, my name's Jack. I work at the Alexandra Hospital. I initially kind of started my journey with Dynamic when I started the senior AHP level 3 apprenticeship.
So the first statement I wanted to put to you is, I am too old to be an apprentice.
My thought would be that you're never too old to be an apprentice. I'm soon to be 58 and I've just started my apprenticeship to become a healthcare assistant level 3. I like to learn, and to me that's important throughout our life. I decided that I wanted to become a level 3 HCA purely because I wanted to make sure that I was doing my job properly and I could do it to the best of my ability. And it's so wonderful to be able to say to people, I've just become an apprentice, and they give you such a funny look as if to say, what, but you're too old. But no, you're never too old.
So the next statement is, apprenticeships are for new staff only.
To be honest, when I first left school, I kind of thought that apprenticeships were for new starters to get into a new career. But as I've done, as I've been working for a few years now, that is completely untrue. And now I see that it's for anyone, wherever you are in your career. I'd done another apprenticeship before when I was 16 with dynamic training. So I've done that apprenticeship and now I'm on this one. So it's definitely not for new starters.
Having the experience in the job itself kind of gives you that base knowledge, I suppose, before you've even started the apprenticeship. So you'll have that awareness of what things are, so you can piece it together a little bit quickly. You might be able to plan and to have the written knowledge and the research behind it to actually say, this is what I've done, this is what I've researched. Actually, can we try this and do it this way?
I can't do an apprenticeship because I can't afford it. I don't have the money.
Yeah, well, I think this is kind of the biggest kind of perk, I suppose, with the apprenticeship. I mean, as we know, university is quite an expensive thing, especially when you first start and you go into quite a lot of debt quite early on. Having the apprenticeship as a route where I can keep my job for a start, learn on the job, having that time to learn as well as learning on the job is really important.
Yes, apprenticeships are totally free. They are funded by the government, but obviously they have to be in collaboration with the support from the company that you work with. So they have to give you that time. So it is they go hand in hand, your employer and the government. But yeah, there's no cost. I've not had to lay out a penny.
So the next statement is, apprenticeships are inferior to other forms of education.
Obviously, with my first apprenticeship, I just completely left school, was 16, had no experience in healthcare whatsoever. So actually, my first apprenticeship completely allowed me to grow as a person, become more confident in public and talking to members of the public. And obviously, out of it, I got a full-time job. I got my care certificate. I was qualified as healthcare assistant. And then for this one as well, it's allowed me, because I left school and I didn't get A-levels, this apprenticeship is allowing me to get equivalent to A-levels to be able to apply for a higher apprenticeship and stuff. So I think it's really important, and they go hand in hand. It's just as amazing as doing a degree, because you're still qualifying in something, you're still learning on the job, you're still bettering yourself as a person and growing and becoming more confident, and you have more options.
Not everybody is cut out to go to university. Not everybody is cut out to do a degree. I mean, I've done degree work, and yes, I found it incredibly difficult. But equally, the work that I've done so far for my apprenticeship, I found equally as difficult. So to me, they're comparable. It's just that I'm doing it in my work setting rather than spending my whole working week being at university, attending lecturers and doing it that way. I prefer doing it this way because it's on the job. I'm earning while I'm doing it. And yeah, I totally disagree. Having done it all, I feel that they're equally comparable.
Apprenticeships mean I have to take a pay cut.
My wages stay the same. I'm still doing my full-time job. It's just that they're allowing me time within my working week to do my apprenticeship. So no pay cut at all.
I didn't have to take that cut because my studying and my training was included in that. So I've pretty just kind of took that time in my apprenticeship and will do on my future apprenticeship so I'll have like a Tuesday pretty much out of work essentially from a study year, which will be paid for again by the government and things. So for me actually it won't change anything from a financial point of view.
There is no apprenticeship for me. I've got these options to look at. None of them suit me.
I would say that's absolutely rubbish. Everybody needs to be continuing with their learning journey, and if you just look hard enough, you will find something that piques your interest and might actually take you off into a different career path that you might enjoy more than what you're currently undertaking. But yeah, there is apprenticeships for all.
I want to progress to become in the allied health profession, so I'd quite like to be an OT. So I was actually able to change from the mental health pathway to the allied health pathway, which I thought was really great and flexible as well, that I was able to change to suit what I'd want to do in my future career. Because when I first started, I wasn't sure whether it was nursing or allied health. Then I sort of veered off to allied health and I was able to change. So I thought that was really great. And then obviously it focuses more on allied health. So then I have a bit more knowledge on that.
And then within the kind of AHP apprenticeship, it's very, for example, like mine wasn't strictly physio based. There was quite a lot of communication just in the general aspects, benefits of nutrition, all sorts of a range of things really. So it wasn't ever I didn't ever feel like it was physio specific, but in saying that, it was also very relevant to all the allied health professional roles. None of it seemed like, I'm doing this unit for the sake of it sort of thing. It was all relevant things to my role.
I don't have time for an apprenticeship on top of my normal working hours.
The apprenticeship that I'm undertaking has got to be done within my working hours. So the company that I work for have to give me the time through the working week to do my coursework or my shadowing if I go to a different department. But everything has got to be included within your working week. It should not take place outside of your working week.
When you do an apprenticeship, you have off-the-job training, which is your time per week that you agree with your mentor from dynamic training and with your line manager, and that is protected time per week to do your studies, to attend your workshops, to do some shadowing. So there is definitely time within your full-time work or part-time work to have as study time.
What about people who think they've done their job for so long that they don't really need an apprenticeship?
I would disagree with that. There's always things to learn. Things always change. And I would like to think that everybody would be constantly wanting to update their skills, to be able to learn new things and to pass that information on. It's surprising. I've had one meeting with my mentor and she taught me one thing, and it was so lovely to be able to pass that down to other members within my team.
Yeah, I would also agree. I feel like even if you've been in your job for years, that doesn't mean that you can't learn new things about your job. And apprenticeships really give you a lot of further knowledge and skills that you wouldn't really think of, and you might and it also gives you opportunities to shadow and look at other teams, which I think is learning and increasing your skills that you could bring back to your current job role.
I've been, like I said, in my job for 3 years, and I've been in the NHS for a good number of years prior to that as well. I think I've taken quite a lot in terms of different kind of methods of communication that you can use with patients. You can take away. I was never very good at written kind of aspects within kind of my role or assignments or exams and things like that. So taking the time to actually learn that and actually sit down, learn how to structure my writing, learn how to, again, plan everything, plan the apprenticeship, plan how I'm going to write things was really important.
Is my English and math skills will hold me back during my apprenticeship?
Yeah, I luckily didn't have to do the English and maths alongside. However, I know that as part of the apprenticeship, you are offered to do the maths and English, and if you need to, you can also do that alongside your apprenticeship. So you're gaining that qualification as well, which obviously you can use in your future, and you can put that down when you're applying for other jobs and things. So I think that because you come into apprenticeship without having maths and English, it doesn't mean that you can't do it, because you can do it with your apprenticeship.
Apprentices require a lot of support within the workplace.
Yeah, I agree. I think when you become an apprentice, you need support from your team, especially from your managers and things, because that support is what's going to allow you to be able to complete the apprenticeship. And there may be times along the way where you have something come up that you need support with, further support with, for example, witness testimonies. You're going to need support from qualified people in your workplace. And there may be other times where you can crack on and do a workbook and you don't need any support. But there will always be times where you need support. But I think that's just in general in life. You know, you don't need to be an apprentice to require support. Everyone needs support at some point during their job, and that's the point of being in a team. You support each other.
But having that support, I think, is really important. Knowing it's there, that awareness of it. But actually, you know, it's not like you've got someone over your shoulder kind of telling you what to do or telling you what order to do things in terms of that. It's again managing your own caseload, your own workload on top of your own units and your own assignments, I suppose.
But yeah, it's as much or as little as you need. If you come to a topic within your apprenticeship that you know, then you might not need that support. But if you're coming across something that is totally alien to you, then you're going to need more support. So I think it's sometimes you need more, sometimes you don't. But we're all different. Everybody has their own support levels that they need, and it's not anything to be ashamed of whether you do need more support or not.
And this is sort of an anxiety that a lot of employers might have, which is this idea that as soon as someone's done with an apprenticeship, they immediately move on.
You do these apprenticeships for your own progression, so then you'd look at kind of either the next apprenticeship that you have to do, or you'd look at kind of the next, you know, the next step in your career, I suppose. You know, within the NHS specifically, there's always that kind of next course or development thing to kind of go on. But I think even if, I think just, you know, being within your role for such an X amount of period, I think you'll likely stay within that role anyway. I've never felt the need to go myself, so.
I would love to be able to stay in the team that I am in and do my OT degree apprenticeship, but that would be my dream. Staying where I am, but just developing within that team, because my team is amazing. They're great. I love where I work. It's great.